Hey everyone, it's Will with Military Lawn Cuts, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 reasons why I see most businesses can't get to $250,000 in annual revenue. Now, I do a lot of coaching calls, and for those of you that don't know who I am, my wife and I, we built 2 lawn care companies. We're actually have plans in the next 12 to 24 months to open up our 3rd location. This year, we'll do about $1 million in sales in our business alone, but I do a lot of coaching calls with individuals that are just getting their business started. If you are interested in getting questions answered by myself, we do a live mastermind group on my YouTube channel once per month, every month on a Saturday. That allows you guys to jump in, ask questions. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. If you aren't already, please click that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss this great content. I also do one-on-one consulting coaching calls. That's something that we just turned on. I get a lot of questions from you guys and people that reach out to me via email on wanting consulting. The reality is I don't have enough time in the day. I find great fulfillment in helping people grow their business. Like, that is what I'm passionate about doing. However, because time is not an infinite resource, unfortunately, I'm not able to help everybody. I'm involved with growing my business and the multiple location setup that we have with Military Lawn Cuts. We obviously do YouTube content. We're super busy here. So if you guys are interested on booking a call with me, check out the description in the link below. It is a priced consulting call, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it's completely overpriced. Do not book it unless you have watched all of my YouTube content, because a lot of the information that I share, I give away for free. This just allows myself to really constrain my time, but still have the ability and the door open for someone that really wants to get a hold of me and have me answer their questions. You can book that one-on-one, situational, scenario-based, whatever hurdle you are needing help with to grow your business to $1 million. Obviously, I am accessible for up to 2 coaching calls per month. Now, with that being said, please do not sign up for the call unless you have watched all my content. Feel free to jump into the masterminds that I do with Caleb once a month per Saturday. You can always catch me there on a live Q&A to get your questions answered. Now that we can jump into the video here, I wanted to share that with you guys. But today we're talking about 3 reasons why you're stuck and not making it to $250,000. All right. So in this scenario, I see this a lot when I do coaching calls with people. They have typically 1 truck and maybe a helper or 2, right? Maybe that be part-time, or they've got 1 full-time, but 1 truck, they've got a setup, they've got 1 route, and they're trying to do the office, they're trying to do the field operations, and all of a sudden they got a part-timer, so they're trying to train them too, and it's very difficult, okay? And the goal that you're trying to get to is to get to 2 trucks. Like, how do we get 2 trucks out there? I'll put plus, because maybe you're at the 2 truck, and you're still having some problems, but going from 1 to 2, maybe 3 trucks, right? This is the scenario that we're talking about here. And I was just talking to a business owner actually recently, and he was doing about $120,000 in annual revenue. For this particular individual, he was doing carpet cleaning, but he was very hung up on, like, man, how do I go from 1 to 2 trucks? Okay. The reason why I think that this is the hardest part in business is there's 3 reasons actually. Number 1, and these are kind of side notes. All right. So this is why I think this is the hardest part. Number 1, everything is a big deal at this part. Like, you have not experienced an employee not showing up to work yet. You have not experienced an employee like leaving the job, or a customer getting upset, or leaving you a 1-star review. You're just so new in business. It's probably been, your first year, 2 or 3 years. You just haven't experienced stuff yet. You're not a veteran yet. So like, everything's so new to you, and it's like very stressful. Everything's a big deal. That's why I think it's very tough right now in this scenario, going from that 1 to 2 trucks. Now, the other thing that I think is very difficult is when you have a truck, typically you're going to put 2 people in it. Okay, person one, person two. And that might be you and your helper. Well, all of a sudden you're scrambling because you're like, okay, well, I can do 10 jobs a day. Okay, so under here, one person can do 10 jobs. You're like, oh, I got a new person on my team. I need to get 10 more jobs. And it's like, well, in the reality, it doesn't work like that because the production is not, you're not going to be able to necessarily double that. There's waste, there's inefficiencies, and he's just not going to treat the business like you or even move as fast as you. So most of the time, you may be able to get, in its peak performance, okay, 8 lawns. That would be 80% of what you can do. That would be a great scenario. But realistically, guess what? It's your first hire, so you're not going to make a great hire. You don't know how to pay well. You don't know how to charge well. So all of a sudden, you hire them, and they're doing like 4 or 5 lawns. We'll just say 5. They're doing 50%. The reason why this is so hard, because what happens is typically at this stage, you haven't learned how to vet people properly. What you do is you don't make great hires, you're not paying well, you're not getting the greatest candidates, you're not getting A players, you're probably getting C. Let's be honest, I hired a lot of C players in the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing. So at this stage, we don't know what we're doing. So what we do is we hire the second guy, and then all of a sudden, guess what? He doesn't show up, or he calls in sick, or he says, hey boss man, this job ain't paying like it should. I'm doing so much work, I'm out. Right? Whatever. Guess what? Now all of a sudden, you have 15 jobs to do each day because you try to hire or gain jobs to fill in his schedule, but then he leaves. All right? You have 50% of your workforce left you, and now you is forced to pick up the slack and do the office and answer the calls and talk to customers and do quality assurance. And it's so difficult from 1 to 2 trucks. It's so hard. I think this is the hardest part of business. There was a third one, but I don't really remember what it is. So we're just going to keep moving forward. All right. Because this isn't even really the topic that we were talking about today. The topic is 3 reasons you're stuck. So that was kind of a side rant. I do that a lot. I kind of go down these rabbit holes. But these are the 3 things that I see that get people hung up. 1 truck to 2 truck, going from 0 to $250,000. Right? These are the 3 things that get people stuck. And you got to figure these out. The faster you figure this out, the faster you're going to get to $250,000, get to your second and third truck, and get out of the field operations as quickly as possible to focus on working on the business and not always in the business. All right? Not fully, partially. But let's dive into this. So we got number 1, number 2, and number 3. And I'm going to write these out. We're going to say pay, we're going to say CRM, and we're going to say leadership. These are the 3 hurdles. If you can master this, you will get to $250,000. Guaranteed. In the beginning days for pay structure, we used to pay hourly. Guess what? We were paying $15 to $16 an hour. Guess what type of candidates we were getting? $15 to $16 an hour candidates. C players, right? All of a sudden we said, you know what? We're going to raise our base pay. We're going to go up to $18 an hour. We raised it by $3 if we were on the lower end. And guess what? We all of a sudden started getting a different type of caliber of people that would actually show up on time, that would actually follow direction when you say, hey, you need to do this on the job each time. And it's like, all right, you tell them once and they do it. You don't have to repeat it every day. Pay structure is very important. Now, we then learned that hourly is not the best way to pay. It's the easiest, and it's ideally, you could say the laziest from an employer because it's just clock in to clock out, hey, 18 an hour. That's what you get. What you want to do is you incentivize them on a pay structure that is a win-win situation. So what we do something called P for P. stands for pay for performance, where our team earns 33% of the revenue that they generate for the business. What does that mean? If we're charging $60 for a lawn and we give them 33%, that means that employee is going to get $20. So every lawn that they can do that we charge $60, for easy math, 10 lawns, they do 10 lawns at $60. Guess what? They're going to make $600 for the business. And from there, they're going to get 33%, which means they're going to get $200, right? The reason why we do this is because on hourly, the employee wants the job to take the longest possible, whereas the employer wants the job to take as least as possible. Why? So you can go and get another job done and make more money. So why are we paying our team hourly when we need to be incentivizing them like an owner so they can move with a purpose on jobs like an owner? You need to compensate them like an owner. If you want them to act like you when you're out there and not have to sit there and micromanage them all the time, that's the way that you have to pay them. We were paying hourly. I found myself so often staring at the dispatch board and being like, why is there a 30-minute gap here and I don't see a break? Why did it take you 40 minutes to go 2 streets over and mow that lawn? What happened from this street to 2 streets over? These are the type of things that I was filling my day with. I was micromanaging the team that I had. All of a sudden, when we put them on a performance pay and we said, look, if you want to sit in your truck, that's your time. You're not making any money. You're making $0 sitting in the truck for an hour. But if you go out and mow a lawn or 2, you could make $20 each lawn if we're charging $60. All of a sudden, I didn't have to micromanage anymore. And now my day is spent doing other activities and working on the business and not always in the business. All right, so that's number 1, getting the pay right. You must get this right to scale the business. If you want to get out of your one truck scenario, get away from the hourly rate. I'm telling you, you got to incentivize them like an owner. Number 2 is having a CRM. What does that stand for? Customer Relationship Management. All right. This is very important. I don't know how many times I give consulting to business owners that are like doing $100,000 a year. They're using QuickBooks or they're using pen and paper or an Excel spreadsheet. And it's like, guys, we have to get on a system that can track all of our customers, track all of the data, allowing us to upsell customers. Like I was talking to a guy the other day and he's like, yeah, well, I just use I just save everybody on my Facebook group. And then I also save everybody in my phone. And I'm like, okay, how many customers do you have? He's like, 1,000. And I'm like, okay, so you have 1,000 phone numbers in your phone? So I'm like, how do you like sell these people or like upsell them or reach out to them? He's like, I just go in there individually, send them a text. Like after we do the service, 3 months later, I just send out a text like, hey, did you need more of your carpets cleaned? And I'm like, dude, that is taking up so much time of your day having to do that. Get a CRM that you can put your customers in a list and have the system send that email for you. Like a lot of people don't like doing the admin stuff. Just let the CRM do the work for you. That's why you pay for it. Sure, it's a couple $100 a month, but you know what? If it saves you 6, 8, 12 hours a week, now you can go spend that doing other jobs and not having to manually text people all the time. Having a CRM is crucial. One of the good CRMs that we use right now it's called Copilot. If you're just getting started, up to the first 50 customers is completely free. We use Copilot for so much stuff. Highly, highly recommend it. We've used Service Autopilot, we've used Yardbook. Copilot is by far the best if you're wanting to grow and scale your business. I think it's the best for anyone doing roughly around, honestly, just getting started from 0 up easily to about $1 million. All right. Copilot, highly recommend it. Number 3, this is the last thing of why people can't get to 250,000 is their leadership. All of a sudden, they get their pay structure fixed, they get their CRM, and if you don't have these 2 tasks completed yet, start today. The last thing is their leadership, and sometimes this comes with time. Leading people, communicating effectively, not demanding things from your employee, but asking them. There's so much that goes in with leadership, having difficult conversations. When you have an employee that doesn't show up or that's sick, that's constantly late, setting the tone, setting those boundaries, having some type of training onboarding process that when you take a new employee in, and like, again, you guys are not going to be experts at this. Your 1st, 2nd, 3rd employee, you're not going to know exactly what to do. But if you incrementally get better each and every time that an employee leaves and you say, okay, what could I have done better? Like, the onboarding process is so crucial. Setting guidelines and boundaries. For us, when we onboard somebody, there's 3 things that we tell them right off the bat. Number 1, our biggest core value is reliability. If you're constantly late or tardy, you will not be here long term. Give it 2 weeks. If you're constantly late or calling off, just expect you will not be. That's setting the tone as a leader and a manager up front with leadership. Whether you have C or B or A players that you're hiring, because again, you're not experts yet, but you need a guideline or a boundary. Number 2 is quality over quantity. Sure, we want to make good money. Sure, we want production. Sure, we want to pay our guys $200 a day plus, maybe $250, right? We want to work hard. But if we're not providing a quality professional service, the customers are going to leave and we're not going to have a job. That is our number 1 priority. If they're getting more than 1 complaint a week, it's a problem. And we tell them that up front immediately. We say, look, anything more than 1 slip is unacceptable. If you're just getting through training, that's fine, but we need to fine tune that. If 30 days from now you're still getting 2+ slips, expect to not be here. We try to be nice to them, but we're also stern at the same time, and we give them the answers to the test. This is what will qualify you and what winning looks like here, and this is what will disqualify you and what winning doesn't look like here. Third one is production. So production, just making sure that they're efficient out on the routes, that it is above a certain percentage in the business to make sure that, like, when we run our numbers, there's a certain percentage that we make money on. So for example, an average efficiency score would be like 75%. Well, anything potentially below that would mean like, hey, we're not making much money here. So where is that threshold at? Where are we saying, hey, look, after 30 days, if your efficiency score isn't at this exact score, you won't be here, right? And that might be a little bit deep or in depth for most of you that are just getting started, but just know your leadership is going to have to develop. You have to grow yourself as an individual, start to take extreme ownership that when the employee doesn't show up, it's your fault. When he leaves the gate open, it's your fault. When the customer complains because they didn't do a good job, it's your fault. Take ownership of it, get better, say it's my fault, I didn't train him properly, I didn't hire the right person, it's your fault, all right? So these are the 3 things I guarantee you, if you fine tune your efficiency or your pay, your CRM and your leadership, you will get to $250,000. Guys, if you like this type of content, hit that like button. It helps the algorithm, and we will see you